It would really just be an individual supervisor after the finance.
And that's what I was thinking.
Makes sense to me. Where's
I think the idea is to engage more discussion, and I think that still allows for the same amount of discussion.
Yeah.
To occur.
Some still have to process.
Yep. Supervisors, if you could please mark yourselves present. All right, Supervisor Shimlunis, if you could mark yourself present, please. I will call the September meeting of the Manitowoc County Board to order. We'll start with invocation by Supervisor Sikowitz, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, we ask for your wisdom as we begin this meeting. We acknowledge that we need your wisdom and insights and welcome your presence among us. Guide us in our discussions and decisions, helping us to seek what is best for all involved. We trust in your perfect wisdom and ask that you direct our meeting according to your will. Thank you for being with us always. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call is going around. We have 22 members present. You can see the reports on the agenda, and we will start with proclamation. So we have one proclamation. Proclamation honoring 4-H Week. Whereas 4-H is one of the largest youth organizations in the United States, with more than 6 million youth involved in 4-H nationwide. And with 26,067 youth 4-H members and 5,654 adult volunteers in Wisconsin, and 383 youth 4-H members and 67 volunteers in Manitowoc County. And whereas 4-H is where young people explore, learn, and discover in a safe environment and find their true passion, gain confidence, and give back to the community. And whereas 4-H has been helping youth and adults learn, grow, and work together for more than 100 years and provides a community where young people learn leadership, citizenship, and skills. And whereas Manitowoc County youth are able to learn individually and together by participating in all kinds of 4-H activities, events, and projects through Extension Manitowoc County programs. Now, therefore, Manitowoc County Executive Bob Ziegelbauer, County Board Chairperson Tyler Martell, and the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors hereby declare October 6th through 12th, 2024 as 4-H Week in Manitowoc County, and urge the people of this community to become more aware of this special program and to join in recognizing the unique partnership between Manitowoc County and the University of Wisconsin-Madison Division of Extension.
Good evening, my name is Lainey Noiser, and I am an active member of my 4-H club, Maribel Mighty Kids, for the past 8 years. Currently, I am finishing up my second term serving as our club's president. Today, I will be telling you guys a little bit about a recent trip I went on through 4-H, the American Spirit Experience, where I went on a 10-day travel, taking a look at our American culture through Eastern America. Alright, so the first day, we kicked off our time together and met fellow travelers with us. And then the second day we went to the Barns at Napanee in Indiana, and we learned all about Amish life. One thing I found very unique and interesting was that teenage youth experience the world outside of their culture and later ultimately decide to either be Amish or not. And so here are some of the pictures of a real life Amish life today. And then the third day we went to Valley Forge in George Washington's house, featuring America's First Army. So we saw the Valley Forge where people traveled, and we walked part of the path that they walked, and then we got to hold on to the actual railing that George Washington himself used in his house, where many other influential people went as well. Day 4, we went to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, and New York, and this was definitely a very cool experience walking through the streets of New York City. We went on a 3-day walking tour, or a 3-hour walking tour, and here we saw featured spots in Philadelphia such as the Liberty Bell and a George Washington monument, as well as a court law house. And then some pictures of our open-air bus tour at night. This was a pretty cool experience. We went from Manhattan to Brooklyn and then back into Manhattan for the night. On day 5, we went to the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, and we experienced a New York City subway for the first time. And this was a pretty cool day for me. And we saw Lady Liberty. This was pretty cool to acknowledge and realize all the immigrants coming from their countries to see their first glimpse of freedom. And we went to Ellis Island and I read quite a few names of immigrants. Day 6, we went to Plymouth, Patuxent and the Atlantic Ocean. Here we looked at the English travelers that have experienced their stories throughout. There were about 15 houses and 10 pilgrims that we could talk to about life that they would experience back then, such as how many kids they had, what they did for a living, how old they were when they got married. And then we went to the Plymouth Rock and some ships that night, such as the USS Constitution and the Mayflower II. And then day 7, we went to Fenway Park and Freedom Trail. Here we got to sit in the the first seats of Fenway Stadium, and we saw the garden that they grow all their vegetables and spices with that they use to sell at these games. And then day 8, another really cool day, we went whale watching, and we just saw quite a few whales. We learned about them, that they migrate every summer. One is 16 years old and has had about 14 calves before, and on these trips they see them daily. Each of these whales are seen pretty much daily. Next, that day we ate some lobster, and we had our first hands-on experience. We had the owner of the restaurant actually came out and talked to us and taught us how to declaw the lobster. So a lot of kids ended up opting out for some chicken tenders or something like that. On one of our final days, we went to Canada, and we saw the Canadian point of view of the Niagara Falls. We went almost underneath Niagara Falls, and we went to Old Fort Erie, where we saw some of the original architecture. And then these were just pictures of the Niagara Falls from a couple different perspectives. And then day 10, we were homeward bound, and we traveled straight home from Virginia, I believe. And then this was our last time seeing some of these people that we made a lot of close friendships with. A lot of these people come from other counties, and hopefully we will see them again and try to further our friendship. But it was a really cool experience that I would recommend to anyone that is eligible to go.
All right, thank you. That microphone. No, it's great. 1787. Okay, that will take us into public comment. Are there any members of the public tonight wishing to speak? Anybody from the public wishing to speak for a third and final time? Seeing none, I will close public comment. We have a very short consent agenda tonight. The only item on there is the minutes.
Supervisors will now vote on the consent agenda.
And the consent agenda is approved. That'll take us to our committee. Start with Aging and Disability Board, Supervisor Shimalunas.
Thank you. The ADRC has ARPA money left over from the original time they got it, and they have till September of 2025 to spend it, which is nice for them. They don't have to hurry through it. And then one other thing that was unique is that the state of Wisconsin gave them some money for advertising. They wanted, I don't really know what they wanted, but they wanted them to be more public. And the first thing they did was change the ADRC logo, but the staff at ADRC didn't like that, didn't want that. So the state agreed that they could use those dollars for advertising. So that means you might hear a lot of the various radio stations having guests on representing the ADRC. And that's it. Thank you. I'm finished.
Thank you. Next, we have the Board of Health, Supervisor Metzger.
We met September 12th. The health officer report, we're encouraging everyone who lives in Manitowoc County to complete the online 2024 Community Health Needs Assessment. The data is used to inform community health improvement plans. The link to the survey can be found on the website. The nurse manager report, the most communicable disease, again, is chlamydia. The prominent respiratory virus circulating is COVID-19 virus, and activity is elevated. COVID-19 cases are highest among children under 5 and those over 65. Influenza and RSV continue to circulate at low levels in Wisconsin. The environmental health report, the manager has passed the field exercise portion, food standardization exercise, and we've been training the other staff. The WIC report, the increased 60 to 70 people participating in WIC since May. The contracted caseload is 1,017. Final caseload for June is 1,060, and July is 1,076. Our next meeting will be October 10th, 5 o'clock at the Public Health Building. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Next, we have the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening. The meeting of the Manitowoc County Criminal Justice Coordinating Council was September 4th. An introduction to the council was given to Emma Eisenschenk, the new community navigator for diversion and deflection program. The report on drug court, Jamie Klingset, a drug court coordinator, reported 6 recent graduations, which brought the number of participants down to 10. There is 1 new person entering the program and 2 applications pending. A brief access to court committee report stated that they will be meeting to determine progress. The diversion and alternate reform team, DART, reported that the portion of the deflection and diversion grant has been received. The grant has allowed the community navigator to be hired, while the implementation grant was received. Also, 1-month extension was used for planning and sending staff for training. A scheduled meeting in September will discuss revisions of their juvenile policies. The next CJC council meeting is scheduled for November 6th. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is the end of my report.
Thank you. Executive Committee, I have nothing to report. Expo Ice Center Board, I see Supervisor Benke is excused tonight. But I understand that the Manitowoc County Fair was a very large success with a record-breaking turnout, great weather, and I'm sure he would want to thank all of you in the community for their support of the county fair. Unless somebody else has a report for the Expo Board. All right. Then we have Highway Committee Supervisor Engelbrecht.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We reviewed the first order of business. We met last week, Tuesday, at the highway shop. We reviewed the lease agreements we had with some farmland out by the Yonda pit and that the highway department has, and also by the airport. And we renewed them at an increase of per acre. We also reviewed some improvements out at the airport. The lighting has been completed, crack filling and lines have been completed, and a future regrading and a drainage study plan. We also went over a recommendation from Traffic and Safety for County Trunk F and Markham Road to cut some trees to better for vision. And then also, the village of Francis Creek made a street request onto County Trunk V, and that was also approved. And then we discussed the King Bridge Pier update to the budget for 2025. Right now, it's upcoming to be a 20-ton posting. And they're working to get it back up to 40-ton with some funded for replacement. And then also the County Q Bridge on Shoto Road and County Q, and that also has a rating at 57, which does not allow for the department to apply for funding at this time. But we're on a replacement utilizing a multi-plate versus a structure. Also went over some equipment requests for 2025 and proposed projects for 2025. And we got an update on the projects for 2024. I believe County Trunk R is open for business, and the 3 roundabouts on Highway 310 should be completed end of the week. And I believe they started on County Trunk V from the village of Mishkat to State Highway 42. Next meeting will be the October 8th at the County Highway Shop. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and I apologize, Supervisor Hanson, I skipped finance.
No problem, Mr. Chairman. I am used to highway bypasses. We did not meet on Monday. We had a lack of things to talk about, but October is going to be very important in November with the budget coming up. So we are meeting October 8th. Yes. 14th, that's what I meant, yeah. October 14th, and that will be after the presentation of the budget by the county executive. We will meet, and we are looking for as many of you that can be at that meeting as possible, just to listen to everything being presented. And we are encouraging departments to come forward if they have concerns with their budget. We just want to make sure that the budget process for this year sets a tone for next year when we're bringing in that sales tax revenue, just to make sure that that money will be spent wisely and used to bring down property taxes, but try to reorganize how we look at budgets and go through that process. So we'll be starting that on the 14th at 4:30 at the administration building, and you are all welcome at that time. That's it.
Thank you, Supervisor Hanson. Next is the Human Services Board, Supervisor Bry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next Human Services Board meeting will be Thursday, September 26th, 4:15 p.m. in the boardroom off of J Street here in downtown Manitowoc. But we do have a resolution tonight. We have a resolution, excuse my long reach here on the reading glasses, we're supporting increased state mental health funding. With that, I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second by Supervisor Mink. Any discussion?
If I may continue, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Just a resolution, the Wisconsin County Association, I'm sure you saw it, sent out emails regarding potential looking at county boards about what they might potentially look at for supporting next year's term. And one of the important was this mental health funding. Obviously, it's nothing guaranteed, but it shows our legislatures that we're we're looking at this stuff. We're gonna be watching you guys, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on and stuff, but these things are important to local government, because the key point, as we always recall, is that county government is an arm of the state government. So you guys are the ones that fund us. So let's keep the funding coming. But here we have a resolution for support tonight. Thank you, Mr. And I guess along with that line, the chairman and myself were actually on line with this same thing, because I was planning on bringing it to the Human Services Board, but Chairman Martell did email me and ask me if we could do that. And yes, it worked out great. So here we are tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution supporting increased state mental health funding.
And the resolution is approved. Thank you. Did you have anything else? All right, we have Land Conservation Committee and UW Education, or Extension Education. Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are meeting this coming Thursday at 4:45 at the county office buildings, the Land Conservation Committee, and then on October 3rd at 4:45 also is be the UW Extension Agricultural Committee. That is the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We have Personnel Committee, Supervisor Marsh.
Thank you. Should have brought this up at the expo, but I thought I'd save it for now. I cashed my check for $24 from the fair for my open class premium. I was a real winner with all my items that I took there. I gotta tell you, there's nothing like a county fair. Anyway, now let's get down to business. Just so you know that I cashed the check already. Not that I didn't think it was going to be good. Yeah, right. Anyway, moving on. The Personnel Committee met before this meeting tonight. We discussed the Sheriff's Department and emergency management recruitment, as we do every month, keeping a handle on that. Discussed status of the budget with County Executive Ziegler, and also discussion regarding health insurance information. The health insurance information regarding where we stand at, I believe the cutoff was the end of June on the expenditures and where we are with what we've all paid out. We also discussed and moved on reinstatement of vacation lost by a deputy sheriff. It was recommended by the sheriff that, or he asked and recommended that he have his vacation reinstated, and we so did that. And also, I will have resolution coming up later I believe at the end of the meeting, on the reallocation of one FTE clinical services manager. Our next meeting will be October 1st at 4:30 in the administrative building. And I believe that ends my report.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we have the Planning and Park Commission, Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Essentially, this is an announcement. The next meeting for the Park and Planning will be September 23rd. Advisory meeting will start at 3:30 and the hearing starts at 4. Thank you. Moving on to public safety. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met with the public safety, we met on September 11th. We acknowledged the receipt and correspondence and reports. No questions were offered from the committee members and no public comment was registered that day. An update to the committee-sponsored free consumer protection presentation delivered by the Division of Trade and Consumer Protection, presenting common scams, frauds, and targeting seniors. The first round of presentation was successful, with a solid turnout and overwhelmingly positive feedback. Attendees gained critical knowledge about various scams targeting seniors, which were new to them. The scam methods are not just for targeting seniors. These interactive sessions have been invaluable, with experts answering every audience question. The participation of local police representatives added further assurance and support, providing attendees with additional resources to protect themselves. Our final sessions will be on Wednesday, September 25th, 11 to 12 at the Leicester Public Library in Two Rivers, 4 to 5 p.m. at the Whitelaw Fire Department in Whitelaw. This information is also listed on the county's website under Special Events and Notices tabs. The committee asked for a media release to record the presentation from the state, but it was declined because of the changing nature of the information about the topic. The information for contacting the presenter and to schedule this presentation for any organization in the county is available. A week doesn't go by without hearing or reading about scams trying to harvest persons' assets. Hopefully, this crescendo of interest continues to empower the public to defend themselves against these scams. Our scheduled report from the Register of Probate didn't occur. This will also be rescheduled in October along with the reporting from the Family Court Commissioner. The next meeting is October 9th at the C&T Building at 5 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is the end of my report.
Thank you. Public Works Committee Supervisor Sikowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Works Committee met on Wednesday, September 11th. In the Solid Waste and Recycling Division, we reviewed the state of the current markets for recyclables and the revenues received to date for them, as well as the volumes of recyclables processed at the recycling center so far this year. In the Buildings and Grounds Division, we were updated on the status of the 2024 capital projects. We received a report on the courthouse windows replacement and HVAC system upgrade project, noting that the HVAC work has begun and the window replacement will be starting sometime after the first of the year. And we approved the first pay request from Hammond Construction for the courthouse project. In the Communications Division, we were updated on the status of the 2024 capital projects for the public safety radio system, which is constantly being upgraded to keep it in top working order for the first responder community. In the IT Division, we were updated on the status of the active projects, noting that the Branch Fire Department and Cleveland Police Department will be joining onto the police and fire software platform that the county IT's department manages. And we also reviewed the latest cybersecurity report. In the Expo Division, we reviewed the September calendar of events, the attendance totals from the county fair, and the monthly financial report. The next meeting of the Public Works Committee will be held on Wednesday, October 9th, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Transportation Coordinating Committee Supervisor Hacker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next meeting of the Transportation Coordinating Committee will be October 23rd, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. And then we are back to Supervisor Marsh with the joint resolution on personnel and or Human Services Board.
Thank you. I'm bringing forth resolution creating 1.0 full-time equivalent substance use disorder supervisor position and eliminating 1.0 full-time equivalent clinical service manager position. I believe the resolution really states exactly the steps on why we are doing this. We had one person who has since left, but that person had 2 credentials that took care of things that you could, the building or whatever, that person had the credentials to do certain things. With the leaving of that person, this is what we have come up with that will work to alleviate that problem. And like I said, I think by reading it through, it really states exactly what we are doing with this. So I so move.
All right, is there a second? Supervisor Bry. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution creating 1 full-time equivalent substance use disorder supervisor position and eliminating 1 full-time equivalent clinic services manager position.
And the resolution is approved. Announcements, I just want to remind you, October's schedule looks a little bit different than typical because of the budget.